here with my brother, Professor Johnny Rodriguez, artist extraordinaire, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, great friend. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for hanging out.
Thank you, Professor.
Looking forward to us hanging out and talking a little bit. We always have crazy conversations. What I see in the weight room or on the mat.
Is this episode brought to us by Açai Jungle Cafe?
Yes, it is. It's sponsored by Açai Jungle Cafe. It is,
where
actually.
You can partake in a fresh, tasty acai bowl, a wild jungle chicken panini sandwich.
Is that your go-to? your chicken panini?
Yeah, with extra vinaigrette.
But you get the acai smoothie too, right?
I do. I just downed one before we started.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Got my
workout in.
Nice.
At the academy, and then
the acai smoothie always hits the spot for me. I always get it with peanut butter in it too.
Oh, is that that's the jam?
I think so. Yeah.
What does Kevin have over there?
What's your go-to?
Cold brew
with milk.
My go-to is the smoothie with peanut butter as well.
Smoothie with peanut butter. Yeah.
Or an acai bowl with peanut butter.
And what are you partaking in right now?
I'm doing espresso. I'm trying to keep it simple.
Espresso by Açai Jungle Cafe.
Yeah. She does her homework. She does her homework. She doesn't mess around. Every piece, every little piece.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised when you go down the rabbit hole of everything that goes into every little piece.
I literally swear by that cafe. I am joking in the sponsored by, maybe you're not, but I love that place. Yeah.
As an artist, what do you love about it? As an artist, what do you love about it?
Well, I like sweet and savory. So you got your sweet with either I'm downing my acai smoothie or mixed with my sandwich, together with my combo with the sandwich. So it hits all the spots. Yeah.
The food, good.
Yeah.
She was a designer, right? When we first met and stuff, and like clothes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So she's a very visual person. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the look, the feel of the place, the ambiance.
Yeah, I noticed that. Is that a new mural of the leaves on the wall?
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. I mean, it's inviting. It's bright, so it feels airy, comfortable. Yeah, I dig it. There's art. There's art on walls. Whether I'm into the art or not, any place with art on the wall gets the nod. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I was just telling you the story of how T, one of Robert Miller's, the long-time TACVA coach, was coming to give me like the painting, for my 5th degree, almost 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pandemic happened, and it never happened. But then he came out later on, and he's like, "Man, actually, I painted one of Draculino as well." And so that painting over there. And then since that didn't happen, he had like these paintings, and so he brought them with him when he came to visit. And then he's like, "Hey man, I have some Mike Tyson," because he knew I loved Mike Tyson, all these Mike Tyson paintings, and I was like, "Oh, bring him out." And then I love Jeff Glover. I love that picture with the jiu-jitsu on his hands. Talk about committed.
So did he do the wall?
He did. He just I went away for like a week, and then he was staying here, and he just went nuts on the wall. Yeah, right. Like our. It was not planned. We just had some couches and a couple microphones, and we were just hanging out. And then somebody else kind of built this thing, and then there was the guy built the camp. This was like black canvas, and then T was here, and he just like started looking at the wall. And then I was gone for a week, and I came back, and there's brick, and it was all intertwined, and all these painting, all these framings, and all over the walls. Right? It's crazy, right?
Our living room.
What's that? Oh, your living room was like that too. Yeah, he painted the living room.
And how about this painting?
Scott's different. Yeah, you can tell it's different, right? So Scott, our country director in Brazil, our TACVA country director, he had it made for the office there. And so then they moved, and he's like, "Hey man, I have this painting. Would you like it?" And I figured it was fitting just because, it's a big part of my life. TACVA.
Yep.
So I put him behind me.
Yeah, those are dope. The one of you, Draculino.
Yeah.
It's a lot of good detail in that,
Yeah.
the kimono or the gi.
He put a gi up, and then he copied the legacy, whatever, gi folded.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool.
Yep, I'm feeling that.
Yeah.
Very cool. You're
Yeah.
gonna have to put some Mike Maxwell
Yeah.
up here.
Right?
I don't know, maybe a Command Z.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Requesting a new middle piece. So, you got some ideas?
Yeah, it'd be fun.
He doesn't say much. He goes inside. You know?
Yeah.
He goes inside and goes into that quantum field, and I don't know how it happens, but he always makes it happen.
I'll try harder for the podcast, but I internalize things. I don't know, maybe, am I boring? I don't know, but I definitely take things in, apply thought. I have this tendency I will try in my head go like 5 steps ahead, and I'll find the answer, and then once I find the answer, I won't even bother asking or having a conversation because I already know where this is going. But there's also assumptions that I'm making. So maybe it's a bad
I just thought it was
habit.
interesting. You looked and you're like, mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all you said. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're already like, whatever. That was more than 5 steps that you you just did at the speed of light in your head. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
How did you? I want to go back in time. How did you find jiu-jitsu? How did you start on this jiu-jitsu journey?
I mean, I felt like I've always been grappling. So I started grappling junior high,
Junior high,
judo,
judo. Okay,
Baldwin Park, boys club.
that's where you grew up, right?
Yep. I was born in Cedar Sinai, downtown LA. My family moved us out to Baldwin Park, which is home of In-N-Out.
That's right.
That's what we're known for.
Founded, yeah, in and out.
Avocado fields, they're all gone. Yeah, and then there was a jiu-jitsu club at the, I forget the family's name, really well-known family. And it just felt like second nature. Rolling, tumbling, throwing. And then I transitioned over to a little bit of wrestling in high school. Wrestling because of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, yeah.
And that felt natural as well.
But you found judo first, right?
I found judo first.
And the rolling and stuff.
Yeah.
You were saying the family.
Yep. And then did jiu-jitsu, wrestling for maybe 2 years. And then nothing. And like my sports have always been skateboarding, surfing, and bike riding. So
Like BMX kind of bike riding or
BMX was
cycling?
BMX was used as training. So over in Rosemead, there's a BMX track. It's still there today. So my primary sport was downhill and mountain cross. And mountain cross is kind of like BMX. And so what it is 4 guys out the gate at the same time on a hill on a mountain bike, no BMX. And so it's mostly berm,
Gotcha.
jump, berm,
Gotcha,
jump,
gotcha.
and physical, throwing elbows, and so got hurt a lot. But, I don't have quick access to like a downhill course. So what we would do is use the BMX track as training. And we would, go out. There'd be a lot of race teams out there and just get in laps, pump track, practicing off the gate, crashing a lot. And crashing on a BMX track is not good either because it's dirt, but it's all hard pack.
Yeah.
So when you're crashing, it's like crashing into cement.
Mm-hmm.
So
Rocks everywhere.
no, it's fairly
pretty smooth?
Yeah, it's pretty smooth. It's
On
clean.
dirt-wise. Okay.
But just a BMX track is like jump, 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 jump.
Gotcha.
Pumping like tabletop jump. And so when you're overshooting things and crashing into the side, it's dirt, but it's hard packed. Yeah. Hospital constant visits. So I would use BMX for training for downhill racing. And so I downhilled for as long as I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 years. We had our own little private courses that we helped build out in Glendora. Have you ever heard of a road called GMR?
GMR, no.
Mm-hmm. Glendora Mountain Road.
Okay.
And I don't know if they're there anymore, but there was a couple like really hidden trails over there.
Okay.
You know, 8-foot drops, 50-foot doubles. And it was all kind of like out in the backside where no one could get to it.
Towards the mountains?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, my friend Renato Migliaccio, he has a gym in Glendora. So next time I go visit him, I'm like, hey, let's go to the mountains and try to find the thing. I'll ask you where it is.
Yeah, that whole area is cool. If you go on a Saturday or Sunday, it's just alive with a community of people going up there to do downhill skateboarding, guys on motorcycles, guys on road bikes, because that road is like a banked, super twisty road.
Wow.
It's really tight. So,
Cool.
you know, you get to pretend you're like some race car driver up there, or you're climbing the Alps with your road bike. It's pretty cool up there.
Cool.
And then if you're coming down the mountain, every once in a while, you'll have a guy pop out in full camel gear and hauling like a deer on his back. It's fun.
Nice, nice, nice.
Oh, yeah. So then did that for a while and spent way too much time in the hospital. Like the worst accident was thrown off my bike and fell down a cliff. I don't know how far I fell down, but usually when I ride, I have full gear. Chest, knee, everything, full face helmet. By the time I stopped, I pulled myself out. Can I be graphic?
Sure.
Yeah, I had a bunch of meat sticking out of my knee. And so, I got to go to the emergency. And by the time I got there, the doctor had, stuck his finger like almost first knuckle deep into my knee because I was looking at it from an angle. Then I looked down, I could see like all my tendons. And that was just one of many crashes that put me in the hospital. And I knew that I was going to end up paying for that eventually. And I didn't want to, I wanted to stop causing that kind of damage to my body. So I was like, all right, but I still got to move and do something. So that's when I transitioned over to jiu-jitsu. It was like over 20 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Vonder in Upland.
Vonder Braga, yeah.
Yep, because at the time I was living out in Pomona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the guy up here for years until he didn't come back from Brazil.
So far that's happened to me twice. Like you go and find a new professor and then all of a sudden they're gone. You're like, where'd they go? Well, they're not coming back.
I did a podcast with him when he came back, He's in, is he North Carolina, South Carolina, something like that now? Yeah.
Yeah, so like my fondest memory of him was on the mat training, and he was walking by and he stopped and he goes, oh, Johnny, he goes, you're an artist, right? And I go, yeah. He goes, you're going to like this because you're an artist. And then walked away. And that left me going like, all right. So now I got to really figure out what that meant.
You're going to like jiu-jitsu?
I'm going to like jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
I had already been training with him probably for like a couple weeks.
Okay.
And then he came by and made that comment.
Mm-hmm.
But it struck me. It was there's been many times in my life where people have made comments based around my art that have stuck with me and have just left me like only wanting to like search the answers and understand why they said what they said.
Yeah.
That was one of them. And that was me trying to connect the puzzles. Naturally, not trying to make it fit, but just trying to understand through showing up and just doing it. And it was cool. It was cool discovering, like, I remember back then, I don't use this analogy anymore, but it was, I have an ice cream bowl and I pick my flavor, vanilla, whatever it is, and I can dress it however I want and be as loud or as boring as I want. And that was jiu-jitsu for me. Back then, now I think I view it differently now. But that was cool. It was fun making that connection. And then in the last maybe 20 years, it's been fun introducing jiu-jitsu to other artist friends and kind of telling them the same thing that Vonder told me, which is, dude, you're an artist. You're going to like this. And what I think a lot of that has to do with, not that there's no rules, but there's no, maybe there's, you could say like there's no kata in that it's structured in the way a traditional martial arts is structured, in that I get to take and pull and make up something that fits me and my personality. And so it's been fun introducing it to certain artist friends of mine that have gravitated towards it. And I mean, you were around, and
That's
we've
the
done
art,
like
right? That's the art.
the secret art jiu-jitsu rolls, where we'd have like drummers and comedians and musicians and a bunch of artists get together. Yeah. And some had never tried it before, and some are black belts.
Yeah.
One black belt now, thanks to you, right?
Yeah, Mike Maxwell.
Yeah.
He did so many. He does like the facial special. He does all kinds of things, right? But the Joe Rogan, the logo of the podcast, and our master is on our walls, right? And he got his black belt, and you guys are like, yeah, we've been collaborating for how many years? 30 years? 20 years?
Maybe longer than that.
Yeah.
I've known him for a really long time.
Really long time. Yeah. And you guys collabed on the legacy wall, like you with the fonts, the legacy fonts, and then him with his paintings of the masters.
Yeah, we started. My first mural with him was for the Etnies shoe brand, their skate park. We painted like a 20-foot mural with Lance Mountain, Steve Caballero, and all these like old school skaters from the 80s. And that was when I first met him. And then from there, we just hit it off. And even though he's in San Diego, we've probably painted easily like a dozen murals together.
Wow.
I think our biggest mural we painted we painted two. The first one, the biggest ones we painted, the first one was in London for a band called 9 Inch Nails.
Wow.
And they were on tour, and I was in the middle of doing a bunch of real secret promotional stuff for them. And so I was given the chance to curate and putting together a bunch of artists to fly out to London. So I reached out to him, painted one in London, and then painted one in LA. And ever since then, jiu-jitsu was part of the conversation. He kind of we were staggered. He found it a little after me, but it was pretty close when he picked it up. So it's been fun going down there. I'll do the drive. I've done the drive early Sunday morning, roll with him and just book it back home.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun rolling with him.
Yeah, I went down one day for the Sururu Edson's grand opening.
Oh, I want to visit that academy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Your fonts are there. His paintings are there. I was trying to get him to, it was some of that he knew, but they got somebody else to paint because the way they're building is the sign is a painting,
Yeah.
like the font and stuff. So
yeah, that's dope.
yeah, but I did it because I had to come to a wedding that day, so I went there in the morning and came back the afternoon.
How's that academy going?
It's good. It's a beautiful spot. It's in Point Loma.
Yeah, I don't know the area.
What is it nearby? Like SeaWorld.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of close, but it's like its own neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful neighborhood. So yeah, it's a really, really good spot. Right across the street from like a high school, Point Loma, probably high school. And they're doing well.
Well, that's
Kids
convenient.
classes,
Then,
adults,
right?
yeah. His daughter, family business, his daughter and their fiance, they're all, doing it.
And then the high school helps to get the kids in.
Yeah.
Curious.
Yeah.
Get the wrestling team in.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Eventually it'll happen for sure. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see, knowing him for so many years, knowing him for my friend, Suru for 30 years, and then seeing him do that because they were talking about San Diego, and then it's just kind of happening. It's kind of surreal, but where you put your energy towards, right? The things happen. Your intentions, right?
Yep. What I haven't talked about, along with racing downhill mountain bikes, I spent a lot of time on the racetrack with motorcycles.
Oh, right, that's right.
Because I have a bunch of motorcycles,
that.
and actually my last race was 4 months ago. I did a desert race. But back then, and the reason why I have a point that I want to make based on something that you said right now. I used to spend a lot of time in the racetrack. So full leather, knee dragging on the floor, kind of like Valentino Rossi style stuff. But the biggest lesson that we learn early when you ride motorcycles is where you look is where you go.
Where you look is where you go.
Yeah. So if I'm looking to the wall, then even though my intention is not to hit the wall, my intention is to hit the exit. But if I panic and I look at the wall, even though I'm not pointing my bike to the wall, I will naturally gravitate towards the wall and I will crash. But if I look towards the exit, then my body, the way it's positioned, will naturally just find the exit. And so
Interesting.
it's something that I'm constantly like, because, you know, you learn a lesson and it's not that I learn a lesson, now I'm good. It doesn't work like that. It's, I've learned the lesson, so now I have to reinforce it daily. I have to remember the lesson and wake up the next day and go, what did I learn? All right. Where I look is where I go. Next day, where I look is where I go. Like, it doesn't, just because I earned that knowledge doesn't mean that I now have transitioned into living that certain way. I have to constantly remind myself. And so where I look is where I go. It kind of plays with the idea of manifestation, right?
Yeah.
Like, and even more, like if I'm hanging around people that maybe aren't, let's say, of value, or aren't building, then I will also with them not build. And so,
Because it affects you too,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. Because there's energy, right? And when I get close to other energy, is it positive energy, negative energy? Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's a double split theory. That double split was it test or theory, where the proton would act differently if somebody's looking at it.
Oh, that's, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's
and so I think that just it's the same thing when you're with other people, right? Like them, we call it like constructive. Einstein called it constructive wave interference, right? They can constructive wave interference. It can help you, right? It can make your energy go through the roof, go high, or deconstructive. You're with somebody and they suck the energy out of you, right?
Vampire energy.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
And you feel it, right? It's like you just feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have, I definitely have people like that in my life. And I'm cognizant of that. Especially like this last week, I've been dealing a lot with it. And I'm willingly going into those situations because I know that I have enough stored up that I can go in there and withstand them trying to suck the energy or like bring like the bad vibes or whatever it is. Yeah, I have like, I don't know how deep you want to go, man, but like I have, for example, I have a brother that is on drugs, and he's pretty much has been ostracized from the family. But he's my brother, and I do love him.
Yeah.
And so I have to be mindful. Like, I have to keep him at arm's length because of many factors that make it dangerous to be around him. And he has the ability to like suck the energy out of a room and just turn it toxic and negative. But there has to be times when you have to be willing to go into it just simply because it's family or you love them, and deal with it and just listen.
Yeah.
Because I find myself like, more than anything, I tell my sisters, like, yeah, I don't really talk much. I just sit there with him and I allow him to just kind of like verbal vomit, diarrhea, just say whatever he needs to say. And a lot of it's negative, and just sit there and, okay, then wait till it's my turn and like offer up an idea or something, So, yeah. Be mindful of those vampires, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like,
You got to sacrifice.
Not everybody.
Yeah.
But some people have to go in.
Yeah.
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 You have to.
That's life, right?
Yeah.
That's life.
Yeah.
whether it's work or whatever. But for sure, if we can control it right, we want to be around the right people that lift us up and make us happy. I was just reading when I on my way to the gym here, the number one factor of happiness. It's like an 80-year study, 90-year study of I think almost 700 people, or around 700 people. Like JFK, I guess, was in the study too.
Mm-hmm.
It started, I think, in the 30s, 1939.
What the number one factor?
The number one factor of people's happiness and like well-being in life is it's that one factor.
Did it say what that factor
Yeah,
was?
yeah. It listed it out and into detail too. The things that are you talking about toxic and not toxic, and around 50 years old, you can already predict like the health and everything else from in 30 years by how you are at 50. And the number one factor of your happiness is your relationships that you have in your life, and long-term relationships. And so they talk about health and they talk about different things, but it's nurturing those relationships is what makes you happy. And so there should be a whole thing of you need to invest in other people, like in the right people, right?
Yeah.
And the right people, and nurture those relationships because it's good for your health.
That's so spot on. I like 1,000,000% agree with that. You're not taking the money with you. You might leave money behind, but what you really will, and this is...
You're going to be leaving money behind for sure, right?
Yeah.
All of it.
And things behind.
Yeah.
But what you really will be leaving behind, and this podcast is also brought to you today by Legacy Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai, is your legacy.
That's right.
I love talking to dads and just chopping it up and having conversations. You will parent your kids even in death because the legacy you left behind.
Mm-hmm.
They will have all these memories and they'll have this roadmap that they keep referring to. They keep opening up that book and going like, oh yeah, he chose to take me on this trip instead of that or whatever.
That's that was good for me. I remember that. I'm going to do the same.
Relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My brother who's losing it. I'm doing this on my own. No one's helping me. I was like, man, no one's an island. You're not doing this alone. You think you are. But if you step back and take account for your life and the way in which people have helped you, you, again, where you look is where you go.
Where you look is where you go. That's
so
it.
If I'm looking and I'm purposefully trying to find the good, I will absolutely find the good. But if I'm trying to find the bad, I'm going to find it. And it's going to come to me. And if I'm looking for that good, I'm going to start opening up those doors like, oh, that's why I am where I'm at. Because I remember that one person spoke highly of me because so-and-so opened the door for me. Yeah. But
where you look is where you go, man. That's it, huh? That's exactly it.
Yeah, but I cannot agree more. In cultivating, like, you have to have. Guys are dumb, man.
Guys are dumb?
Guys are dumb. I say this respectfully. In that it takes us a long time to look to the future and ahead and really understand.
And we're designed to act without thinking, right?
Yeah.
There's a line like
Yeah.
we gotta handle business, and you can't be calculating too much, you know.
I get
you gotta
it.
save the tribe, you know.
I get it. Look, I'm an emotional artist. I am designed to just like what, and I go.
Yeah.
I just go. If I'm feeling something and an idea, I have to explore it. I go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, and maybe I shouldn't say guys are dumb. Maybe I should say I'm dumb. But man, to have the foresight to just like to look ahead a little bit and have some clarity in recognizing that, man, we're gonna potentially be in our 60s, 70s, 80s, 100, I don't know. I'm hearing about more and more and more people that are surviving into their hundreds.
Yeah, it's. I mean, listen, like
Yeah.
technology is changing,
Yep.
and we're gonna.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna be around. You know, we're
Yep.
gonna be around and doing well.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that, like you said, we have connections, but connections that are meaningful in that they connect us to our past and that we're remembering those things and those relationships and cultivating them. So important. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Even as simple as, and man, this is like a practice that I do. I try and do this daily. Again, like I was saying earlier, it's a daily reminder, and sometimes I forget. But just texting someone and saying, "Hi, I'm thinking about you," and that's it. Thank you. I needed that. That kind of cultivation, even at that level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check in,
Yep,
and just
checking
with a
in.
quick text. Yeah.
Yep. Letting you know that you're on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that says a lot.
Yeah.
It's special.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, got me kind of just calling people is Joey Coco Diaz.
Yep.
He's like, don't be texting me, dog. You gotta. He's like old school, you know.
Yeah.
And if I haven't talked to people for a while, like just they call them. If they don't answer, then I shoot them a text. But I make the effort to call people because there's a power, even if it's for like a minute, or 2 minutes, whatever. Just make the call, Yeah, but that investment, it really put things in perspective for me. How, it should be a thing of wellness, right? Of fostering long-term relationships, and I think guys too, especially you're talking about guys, right? Like they lose, right? They lose connections with, they have their families, and they just lose connections with their guy friends, right? And that like you have a crew when you're younger, and you lose that, And I think it's very important, and I think it's one of the things that jiu-jitsu gives us. Like my long-term friends in my life are my jiu-jitsu friends. You go to battle together, and there's like a bond that kind of never gets broken. And like keeping those relationships are very important, right, for our well-being. And that article kind of put things in perspective for me, as well. Well, it's just data, right? So it's like 80-year study, guys into their 80s, and what makes them what does happiness mean? And it's the relationships, right?
Yeah.
And so how they break it down, the toxicity, 50 years, just that fact, right? At 50 years old, they already know, they predict how your health is going to be, in your 70s and 80s, Right? It's like,
I wonder how much AI was used to.
right. Yeah.
to
but it's data, right? It's data.
Yeah.
Like they interview the people every year.
Yeah.
Every year they interview them. 700, and I think around 724 people is what I think was the number. It just popped in my head. It was around 700 people, but 724 is the number I remembered. And they interviewed them every year till now. Even it's ongoing still. And it's the relationships, the friendships, and that's what gives a happy life.
Yeah, there's
people talk about money, this, that.
Yeah.
And for sure, all you need is enough to get by. And if you have that, you're good. If you're what.
And then if you sprinkle it in with a healthy dose of perspective.
Perspective, yeah.
Yeah. And then that.
Everything's perspective, right?
Totally. I've been struggling.
What's that CIA guy? He has like longer hair, curly hair. He was saying something about what's the number one thing that you would give advice, whatever. And was it perspective versus perception? That's it.
Yeah.
And your perception you change. How do you explain that? How do you say it? Is it the
change your perception? Everybody's trying to explain their perspective. No one's trying to see
each other's perception, your perception, how you're thinking about things. I'm trying to show you how I think about things, and just changing that makes us connects us, right?
Yeah, I understand that. And that makes sense. When you think about that, if you had that kind of clarity, you would stop a lot of fighting and wars.
Right? Yeah.
Because you would come to an understanding that it's not about you. That sometimes.
Well, it's everybody has their own perception of things. You know, we're all wired differently. We're all, you know, only one of us. You know.
Sometimes it's about I got cut off.
Yeah.
And I'm projecting at the first person that walks by me.
Yeah.
And if it's a friend, and I might lash out to them. And so sometimes it takes stepping back and going like, oh, this is what it is. It's not taking it personally.
Yeah.
It's not about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard
Yeah.
because
that's wisdom though, right?
Yeah.
Once you're able to turn that page, whatever, and go live that, you know?
Yeah. And then cultivating that relationship and going like, hey man, could we talk about this? Can there be a conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even if they're not there yet, like it's okay. Just it's all good. Don't take it personal.
Yeah.
It's not about you. It's what they're going through.
And what you just said too right now is they're not there yet. So what does that mean? Like I think I will go through something and maybe I've rubbed someone the wrong way.
Yeah.
And then I arrive finally to a place and I'm like, oh, okay, I understand the situation. I'm good. And then I expect them to arrive with me, but they're not there yet. So I have to wait till they arrive as well, until they've had the time to cool down, to put things in perspective, right? Just having patience.
Yeah.
Patience for each other.
And understanding the other person's point of view, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is
that
why
gives you patience, right?
This is why jiu-jitsu is important. Because we want to go through life having, I think empathy is important.
Mm-hmm.
I think having patience is important. Like all these, what are like virtues.
Yeah.
They're very important to share with one another and to bestow on people grace. Why jiu-jitsu is important is because then I get to go into the academy and smash people. So I'm bringing balance to my life.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Right, man. Like if you smash people, if you get smashed, you know, like people have different beliefs, different things, but at the same time, like it connects you, right? Because you share that reality together, and there's trust, or you're not gonna whatever if you're a jerk and you like hurt the person, like it's different, right? But you know, smashing them, getting them, catching them, it's all good. You're helping the other person, you know, even with that, right? And so I don't know, yeah.
No,
but you can let loose and be yourself.
It's not so much that about smashing people. It's more about having that a raw physical experience.
Yeah.
With my intention of whatever it is my goal is in jiu-jitsu for that day.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's to dominate someone and convince them to give up. Right?
Yeah.
That's funny. But for me personally, I do need that balance.
But like you're saying, like that's what you need on that day. That's whatever you're doing. That's your intention. And even though you're doing that, like even though you're doing that to somebody else, it helps them too, right? Maybe they need to be checked. Maybe they need to check their ego or whatever it is, you know. Yeah. Or maybe they needed that challenge, you know, if it was a tough training or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So it's all good because of the way it's set up, right? It's the jiu-jitsu, the randori, right?
Yeah.
The training.
And I say specifically the intention for that day, because sometimes the intention isn't to go and be a dominant force. Sometimes the intention is to learn just defense. Maybe you're injured and you need to go in and learn to work through things. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's just showing up and just getting through the class, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love conversations that are stream of thought. I like the twists and turns that they take. And most of the time, this hasn't happened, but most of the time they all end up with food conversations.
We started with food, right? Might as well get into chicken paninis and the açai smoothies.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Have you been to Brazil?
No. I'd love to.
Man, I have to go to Brazil. I have to take a crew. You know, I have to take a crew of masters guys. You know, I have to do it. I have to do it. I have to make sure you're one of the guys that goes with together. I go together with. You know, I owe it to a certain crew. You know, of people.
I would love that.
Yeah, yeah. I'll go to Rio, probably Belo Horizonte too, but Rio for sure.
Brush up on the Portuguese. Yeah, that would be dope.
Yeah, yeah.
I have this. I like traveling. I'm becoming more fond of traveling. So I've maybe traveled, I think, once for pleasure in the past.
Once for pleasure.
Yeah, which was recently. Went to France. So what that means is I went and I did nothing.
Went to Paris with Paris?
Yeah, we just hung out. I'd never done that. It's always been traveling to go paint something or to go like do an award, something or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done a lot of traveling, got to like see some pretty cool places, but it's always been for work. And so I don't know, I have this mentality that like wherever I go, like I just want to go there and get busy and do something. Because that's how I'm naturally. It's hard for me to sit still. I just want to like work with my hands and go. But going to just chill, I'm trying to learn how to do that.
Just being.
Yeah. That's hard.
It's interesting, right? Like I think I told you I went to India like some years ago. I took my wife for her birthday one year, and one of our guides was a philosophy and meditation PhD.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's just talking about, you know, meditating is not just, you know, doing nothing. It's actually doing things too, right? Like, you know, your art, you're in meditation, you're focused, you don't know what time it is, you don't know what's, you know, hours go by, and you know the deal. You're in flow state. So I just thought that was always interesting, you know, like everybody's wired differently and nobody's, you know, we all find our way, right? But I have the same tendency. Like I always have to kind of do things, you know, and just being able to turn it off and just be there without doing anything.
It took me a long time to understand that first part. So I think we talked about this a long time ago. So my dad, he's passed away. Rest in peace, Pops. So he was big on meditation, like guru level.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was, I don't know, grade school, 4th grade maybe, I'd go visit him, and he would sit me down. He had these tapes of his own voice. You're getting tired. We're going to count down from 10, 9, and long tapes, and just talking to, like, they were all designed to get you to a state to where you can open up your mind, your third eye, to be able to work better, smarter, be a better student. And so he would sit me down, put the headphones on, and go, all right, Johnny, you're going to sit here, you're going to listen to this tape, you're going to meditate, hour, 2 hours. I'm a little kid. Put him on. Hours go by. Comes back in. He's all, are you good? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, no, I didn't do any of it. I just listened, and I kind of dozed off and had dreams about my Hot Wheels. I don't know. And it always bothered me. Like, why can't I get into that pocket that he wants me to get into? Why don't I understand the concept of meditation? Then he passes away. I'm an artist, so I paint, and I paint a lot of very intricate things. But the example I use are pearls. I'll paint like robes with maybe like 100 pearls. And a pearl isn't like just a single swipe of the brush and you're done. A pearl is probably made up of like 10 different layers. And so 10 times 100, I'm doing like over 1,000 steps to paint this robe with all these pearls. So, and they're tiny. And so it's a lot of like thin, small brush. And to do it, I've learned after the fact, I was like, oh, I was meditating. I finished all this work, 2 hours passed by, and it felt like 3 seconds. Like, how did I get there? How did I even do that? I get it. I really understand when I look at my paintings. I understand that I painted it. At the same time, I have no idea how that happened. How did this paint in these buckets that are just separated, how did they get out of that bucket and become what they are? It blows my mind. And it's through that flow state.
Yeah.
It's the eyes kind of roll back and you meditate and you are just in it. You're in the process. You're respecting the process, which is my other favorite thing, aside from where you look is where you go. Respect the process.
Respect the process.
Yep. And that's a blanket statement for anything in life. Things just take whatever it is, time, patience. That's part of the process, right? To get to white to black.
Respect the process. Respect the process.
Yep.
Trust the process.
Yep.
Have faith, right?
Yep.
Believe.
Do the work. Show up. Seat time. That's the biggest thing, is seat time. Like
a lot of people want results, right away.
Or they want the talent. They think that like the greatest have like the greatest talent. But what they really have is grit to put in the seat time. Because that's where the magic happens.
Yeah, it's the number one. Was it I watch a lot of things, right? So there's a TED Talk. The number one predictor of success.
Grit.
Yeah. Number one predictor of success. Out of all the CEO, everybody, grit, being able to stick to it, follow through.
Having an attitude of like, and sometimes it's crazy. You have to have a little bit of crazy and willing to do something again and again and expect a different outcome and show up every day and just seat time and do it again. And before you know it, like whether it's an hour or 10 years will pass by and you'll have risen to a level, you will be floating.
Yeah.
And you get to look back and you're like, oh, okay, I accomplished that. I am now a different person. My feathers are no longer brown. They are white. Yeah. Because I'm full of knowledge.
Yeah.
Seat time.
Yeah, seat time. Yeah.
Yeah, grit.
I think jiu-jitsu has done that for me, for sure. You know, when I was young, I was like 18, right? Not that young compared to the kids now, right? But considering in the day of jiu-jitsu just starting out in the country, right, in the U.S., and jiu-jitsu overall, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So, I wrote down my goals, what I wanted to do, and just trusted the process, right? Did all those steps, but just one thing is talking about it, and another thing is actually doing it. And once you do it, once you walk the walk, and you actually get to where you wanted to go or do what you wanted to do, then you got it, right? Then it becomes a part of who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, not to get religious, but there's a scripture that talks about a man without vision is dead. And so you wrote down on the paper, these are my goals, this is what I want to achieve. Yeah, that. I had a chance to do a roundtable talk. I was kind of winging it. But my takeaway that I really wanted to share with these people that came to hear the panel was, as an artist, the most important thing you have to do, you have to answer a question. And that question is why?
Why?
Like, why am I doing this? And that applies, you could blanket apply to that to anything. Why are you doing jiu-jitsu? Why are you a race car driver? Why do you want to be a doctor? Why? And when you answer that question, I don't believe that there's a wrong answer. You take that answer and you cast it to the sky and you make it your North Star. And it lives up there. The answer to why. And so when I'm going through this process, when I'm applying grit, when I'm looking where I go, when I'm cultivating relationships, when I'm studying, when I'm putting in seat time, things are going to fuck up. Things are going to go bad. You're going to get distracted. You're going to get lazy, complacent. All this stuff's going to happen. You're going to get married,
right?
divorced. Yeah. Your mom's going to die. All this stuff's life is going to happen to you. And you'll get lost through that process. But if you answer that why and you placed it in the visual in the sky, in the place of that North Star, then it will always be there to guide you home.
It's a good way to put that why, the North Star.
Meaning, why am I doing this art? It's become about something different. Okay, so let's walk back, let's step back and remember the why. Because then it refocuses me. And then it sets me on the right path. Man, that's been a lifesaver for me. Because again, as an artist, can't help it. I'm just an emotional dude. And I get confused, and sometimes I let my emotions get the best of me. So that's my safeguard, is the answer to that question removes the emotion, and it allows me to refocus, right? Yeah. That's how I survive. And I can apply that to everything. Yeah, family. When I deal with my brother and his addictions, why am I doing it? Dude, that guy talks to me with the worst tongue in the world. He says the nastiest things to me, but the whole time I'm going like, I know why I'm doing this. I know. It's okay. Say what you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, right? That's it. And then you stay focused, you know what it's about. You get discouraged, you have bad things that happen along the way, and you're like, no.
Yeah.
I got this.
Yeah, because
I know why I'm doing it.
When those bad things happen, you're going to need time to be human. You're going to need time to be upset, be hurt, cry, go break something. And then once you're done doing that, then you have to pick yourself up.
Find your way back.
Yeah.
Yeah, get back on track.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You go different things like sports and stuff, and they always have like finding out your why, right? Finding out your why, so it keeps you on track, right? You get off track, gets you back on track.
Yep.
Tough times.
And all that informs
injuries
one another.
And things like that, right?
Yeah. And it's all informative. The sports informs your real life, and your real life informs your sport. It reinforces these ideas and concepts that help keep you grounded. Yeah.
What's your, speaking of whys, what's your why for your jiu-jitsu training?
I think those whys change.
They've changed over time, for sure.
Yeah, they change over time.
Right now, for me as well, of course, when I was 20 years old to now.
Yeah.
What's your why right now?
For a while, it was I just want to be able to protect my family, protect those around me, my loved ones, And I think now it's turning into I just want to be here for my family. Yeah. And jiu-jitsu along with, lifting weights. It's, we were talking earlier, my buddy has the bone density of an 18-year-old and he's in his late 60s.
Mm-hmm.
I want to maintain that. I want to maintain like a mental sharpness. Yeah. I mean, like my dad's really like a big motivator. He was big into martial arts, and more than anything, he was just big on mental toughness and challenging yourself mentally. And so I think jiu-jitsu is a pathway to that. I think it's going to allow me it's going to hold me and keep me for a really long time. And it's going to allow me to, help me maintain this body.
Yeah.
I also did, back to like the motorcycle and bike thing, I did a lot of damage. And so when I stop moving, I feel it. Like my body hurts pretty fast. I start going through all the pains. And so Jiu-Jitsu allows me to move. And not that it's masking it, but it's just keeping like the movement in the bones. It's keeping me active.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The second I stop, then the pain starts coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was we were talking about the Mike Rooftop, right? And the stem cells and CPI and all that. I gotta hopefully one of these days introduce you to. Maybe we go there together or something in Tijuana. Yeah, it's a cool little thing that's pretty close by, you know. San Diego, Tijuana, you know.
Food.
Yeah. Food as well, right? But now the just health things, right? Wellness things. They do like, you know, a bunch of tests, and it's just good. It's just good to do, and it's really close, right, for us compared to other people. So, yeah. What about your wife for like art, creating?
Yeah.
Besides it just being work, and you know,
there's this. Oh man, there's this movie, and the main character, he's played by John Cusack, and he's a hitman. And he picks up a gun, and because he's trying to come to terms with the fact that he doesn't want to be a hitman anymore. Gross Point Blank is the name of the movie, and he has
Gross Point Blank.
Yeah, and he has a therapist, and the therapist is trying to help him work through this, and he's trying to understand his why. And through the movie, because he was trying to get away from it, he was forced into the position to have to go and use his gun again to be the hitman that he's been for the last 20 years. And he looks in the mirror, and he has a gun, and he says, "This is how I breathe." And I remember when I heard that, I was like, oh yeah, when I make art, this is how I breathe. I can, man, again, and I don't mind admitting this, maybe I do need to learn how to be still and not have to rely on doing things. But when I'm not doing things, I become a negative person. I allow thoughts. I allow laziness.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
And so, and sadness. But when I'm moving and I'm making art, when I have spent time in the studio producing, I come away happy.
You're built for that. You're wired for that.
Yeah.
To do action, to do things, you know. I talked with Kevin about it too, like the ADHD thing and the whatever the diagnosis is, whatever they want to call it, you know. People are wired differently, you know. And if you're not, you know, they say like ADHD or whatever it's called, whatever those things are, you're allergic to being bored, to not doing anything. And then like dyslexic is you know, you're a master at pattern recognition, you know.
Yeah.
So just those things, right? So yeah.
I also
Staying busy is good for our health and our well-being. And embracing that, you know, like that's I'm my best at when I'm doing that.
I also recognize that there's an end to this. And so if there's an end, I'm trying to be mindful of how I use my time. I only have X amount of paintings left in me. And so I do spend time making sure that I'm utilizing this time that I have to get out those ideas that I've caught. What I mean by caught is, we talked about this before, is
coming to your head,
this energy, and I'm an antenna, and I'm pulling from that energy field. And so if I keep catching these ideas, I just want to best use this time that I have left, because there's only so many summers left, right? I just want to use it wisely and put the best stuff out there. Yeah. And again, that applies, I apply that to everything.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you start breaking. You don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it. But just how much time, right? Like you think, oh, you have forever when you're young, right? But you don't. You don't. You know, it's like, don't waste your time. Don't get after it, you know?
Yeah, I just turned 50 a couple weeks ago. And the day on my birthday, it hit me hard. It was hitting me hard just thinking about time. But it brings me to a beautiful place.
Yeah.
It doesn't bring me to a bad place.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want infinity.
Yeah.
The fact that there's an end to this
makes
this special for me.
Yeah.
And I'm also like, you know, I'm a dad that lost an 18-year-old son. So life is not the same for me anymore. My perspective and the way I view things is drastically different for me. I view life and death in a very different way. My happiness and my sadness are my world. I'm living in an upside down world permanently. And so it means a lot. And I am genuinely you're having a conversation with someone that is genuinely respecting the fact that I am still here. And I'm trying to make the best every day of that time.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't waste time. Give everything you got every single day.
Yeah. My visual for this is when I was a little kid, we raced up and down the block. I'm 51. I felt like I grew up in the 50s in the neighborhood I grew up in because it was all the kids were out in the block. And when the sun came down, you heard the whistle and all the kids came in. The next day, we all went out and played ditch-em, football, whatever. We were constantly racing up and down the street. And I remember I raced the fastest when I took my shoes off. And I always felt like I had gears. First gear, race. Someone got faster than me. Next gear, next gear, next gear.
Yeah.
I felt like I always had this power to like just put a little bit more and run a little bit faster. And at a young age, it hit me that I can apply that to the thing that I love the most. At the time I've always been making art since I was 3 or 4.
Wow.
And I remember what I was drawing back then.
What were you drawing back then?
Cars. Yeah. It's funny, like, yeah. I don't want to get into what I'm drawing now, but yeah, cars were a big thing for me at the time. But then I had sidetracked and I was playing a lot of music. And I thought that I was going to take a turn and become a musician. But just applying that idea of you have the ability, you have gears within you, and you can go a little more. And just stress testing yourself, and finding out. Maybe you don't have any more gears, but you need to find out if you don't. Yeah.
That's it. Right on. Do you have any upcoming shows? Any things you want to give a shout out to?
I have a solo show in March 2026, so it's still a while away. So I am sacrificing a lot right now, like hangout time, bro time. I'm trying to get in gym time, but my doors are closed.
The thing with the gym time with jiu-jitsu is you mix in bro time with gym time, you know?
Double, yeah. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, so that I'm knee deep in creating for that show.
Same place as the last.
Yeah,
where was?
Mayor Karnowski Gallery, KP Projects in LA. Off of Fairfax? No, it's not Fairfax. Is it Fairfax?
I think it's Fairfax.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's my home gallery. They represent me. It's probably my favorite show so far, but I say that about every show that I'm in the middle of making. But right now
that's how it should be, right? Dana White says, like, this is the biggest show that's ever. Well, my wife's like, he always says that. I was like, well, that's how he feels. That's how it should be, you know?
Because when you're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
It's everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. All that matters is now. Yeah.
Yeah. I am raw right now. And what I mean is, like, all my senses are out because I'm in the middle of painting and concepting. So my antennas are like way up. And I'm just like taking in, and it's all coming out right now. And then once the show's over, back out in the desert, racing my bike. But until then, yep.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.